If you spend any time in a deer camp or browsing the gun counter, you have heard the debate. Is there actually one single magic bullet that can drop a whitetail in the Georgia pines, stone a bull elk in the Montana mountains, and stop a black bear in the Maine woods? Most folks will tell you it does not exist. But here is the reality. There is a clear winner, and honestly, it might not be the one you think it is. Before we send rounds downrange, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. We are bringing you the unfiltered truth about ballistics, and you do not want to miss the next loadout. Let's rack the slide on the top 8 calibers and find out which one reigns supreme. Number 8. The .243 Winchester. Kicking things off at the number 8 spot, we have got the .243 Winchester. Let me tell you, this is probably the most slept-on deer cartridge in the lower 48. Winchester dropped this round back in 1955. It was built from the ground up for harvesting whitetail in thick cover, where you are rarely stretching the barrel past 200 yards. The .243 sends a bullet that is 243 inches in diameter. You are usually slinging lead weighing between 80 and 100 grains, clocking in at a blistering 2,900 to 3,000 feet per second. Now, you need to know the limitations here. The .243 is a laser beam for deer and antelope, but I would not trust my life with it on anything bigger. If you are talking elk or moose, you need deeper penetration and more kinetic energy transfer than this little guy can offer. But if you are stalking whitetail back east or chasing muleys on the flats, and you want a rig you can shoot all day without needing an ice pack for your shoulder, the .243 Winchester is a solid contender that people forget about. Expect to pay between $22 and $38 a box. Number 7. The 6.5 Creedmoor. Sitting at number 7 is the 6.5 Creedmoor. This is the new blood that has absolutely disrupted the industry over the last 10 or 15 years. The ballistics wizards at Hornady cooked this up in 2007. It started its life-punching paper for long-range competition, but hunters figured out real quick that it is a hammer in the field too. The 6.5 sends a .264 diameter projectile, usually weighing in the 120 to 143 grain neighborhood. You are looking at velocities between 2,700 and 2,850 feet per second. Ammo prices are decent, running $25 to $50 a box, and you can find this stuff at pretty much any gas station in America right now because it is so popular. The 6.5 shines on medium game. If you pick the right load, like a bonded soft point or a solid copper monolithic, you can take elk inside 300 yards. But for general purpose hunting where you need to reach out and touch something with precision, the 6.5 Creedmoor has earned its stripes as a top-tier modern system. Street price runs $25 to $50 a box. Number 6. The 300 Savage. Rolling in at number 6 is the 300 Savage. This is a piece of Americana that does not get the respect it deserves these days. Savage Arms brought this to market way back in 1920. That makes it one of the oldest warriors still putting meat in the freezer today. It fires a .308 diameter bullet, typically sending a 150 to 180 grain pill down the pipe. Velocities hover right around 2,600 to 2,700 feet per second. Here is the cool factor. This round gives you ballistics that are almost identical to the .308 Winchester, but it uses a shorter case and less powder. That means you get a very manageable recoil impulse of about 13 to 15 foot-pounds. This round was born for lever-action rifles, although you can find it in some bolt guns. The only snag is logistics. Ammo supplies have dried up a bit as the tactical stuff took over. You might have to hunt for ammo online instead of grabbing it off the shelf at big box stores. However, for the hunter who wants a soft-shooting, reliable classic for deer, bear, and hogs inside 300 yards, the 300 Savage is a lethal combination of history and performance. Cost is roughly $30 to $50 a box. Number 5. The .270 Winchester. At the number 5 spot, we are looking at the legendary .270 Winchester. This cartridge has been dropping game since 1923. The .270 pushes a .277 caliber projectile. Most guys are loading weights between 130 and 150 grains. The claim to fame here is trajectory. This thing shoots flat. For whitetail, pronghorn, and even elk at reasonable ranges, the .270 creates a devastating wound channel. However, physics is physics. It is not my first pick if you are tracking heavyweights like moose or walking into grizzly territory where you need massive stopping power. But if you are strictly hunting medium game in open country, and you want a flat trajectory without getting beat up by Magnum recoil, the 270 Winchester is a serious tool for the job. You are looking at $25 to $45 a box. Number 4. The 7mm Remington Magnum. Stepping up to number 4, we have the 7mm Remington Magnum. Now we are talking about a powerhouse that elk hunters absolutely swear by. Remington unleashed this beast in 1962, and it became the standard for American Magnum performance overnight. The 7mm Rem Mag fires a 284 diameter bullet. Weights usually range from 140 up to a heavy 175 grains. The velocity is where it gets gnarly. Depending on your load, you are pushing 2,900 to 3,100 feet per second. The ammo is going to hit your wallet harder than standard calibers, and you might not find your preferred load at a small-town hardware store. You need to handle your logistics before the season starts. For deer, I will be honest, this is overkill. You are going to ruin a lot of meat. But if you are glassing for elk across a canyon, or need to anchor a mule deer way out there, the 7mm Remington Magnum is hard to beat. Expect to pay $35 to $60 a box. Number 3. The 300 Winchester Magnum. Coming in at number 3 is the 300 Win Mag. This is where we leave the lightweights behind and talk about serious terminal performance. Winchester released this monster in 1963, chasing the tail of the 7mm, and it quickly became the go-to solution for dangerous game and extreme distance. The 300 Win Mag uses the same .308 diameter bullet as the standard .308 or the .30-06, but that is where the comparison stops. This Magnum case pushes heavy bullets from 165 all the way up to 200 grains at speeds of 2,900 to 3,200 feet per second. Feeding this beast is expensive. You are looking at $40 to $75 a box, especially if you are running premium match-grade stuff. But if you are in the Alaskan bush with brownies running around, or you have a tag for a trophy bull elk in Colorado, and you need a rifle that can ethically harvest literally anything walking on this continent, the 300 Winchester Magnum delivers the mail. Price is $40 to $75. Number 2. The .308 Winchester. Sitting at the runner-up spot, number 2 is the .308 Winchester. If you want the perfect balance of stopping power and shootability, this is your stop. Winchester launched the commercial .308 in 1952. It is the civilian brother of the military 7.62 by 51 NATO, and it has become one of the most prolific rounds in human history. The .308 slings a .30 caliber projectile, usually in the 150, 165, or 180 grain flavor. It leaves the muzzle around 2,600 to 2,800 feet per second, generating a solid 2,600 foot-pounds of energy. The recoil is manageable, sitting around 15 to 18 foot-pounds. You can run this gun all day at the range without developing a flinch. It is huge with hunters in the East and Midwest, who take shots in the timber under 200 yards. The trade-off is the rainbow trajectory compared to the Magnums. You can absolutely make ethical hits at 400 yards if you know your dope, but it drops fast past that. It also lacks the raw horsepower for the massive stuff like a bull moose. But for 90% of hunters, it works. Ammo runs $20 to $40 a box. Number 1. The .30-06 Springfield. And here we are at the top of the mountain. The number 1 caliber that stands alone in American hunting culture. The .30-06 Springfield. If you have been shooting for more than 5 minutes, or if your granddad taught you how to shoot, you knew this was coming. This cartridge has been the gold standard since 1906. It fires that same .308 diameter bullet we talked about with the .308 and the Win Mag. But the secret sauce here is versatility. You can load this thing with anything from a light 110 grain varmint round, all the way up to a massive 220 grain sledgehammer. No other caliber gives you that kind of spread. Here is why the .06 wins. You can run light 150s that mimic the speed of a 270 for deer, or you can load heavy 180s or 220s that rival the energy of a 300 Win Mag at hunting distances. It is the jack of all trades and the master of most. Price runs $22 to $45 a box. So there is the breakdown. The top 8 hunting calibers in the U.S., and why the .30-06 Springfield is still the king of the woods after 119 years. Head down to the comments section and let me know what you are carrying this season, and why you trust it. If you got some value out of this intel, crush that like button and subscribe so you do not miss our next ballistic breakdown. Remember, the best caliber is the one you can shoot straight when the adrenaline is pumping. Stay safe, happy hunting, and we will see you on the range.